There is a lot of academic literature on the role of luck in games and sports. Drawing from various sources, I have mapped different games and sports on a continuum of luck versus skill. At the extreme left of the continuum are games with 100% luck and no skill. Games like roulette or a coin toss, where there is obviously no skill required. At the extreme right of the continuum is chess, a game determined almost entirely by skill and almost no luck. All other games and sports, from ice hockey to football, basketball, and tennis, fall somewhere in between these two extremes on the continuum. How do we know that chess is all skill and almost no luck? Think about the edge that a strong chess player has against a weak chess player. Chess follows a rating system called ELO ratings. It is well known that if a strong player plays a game against a weak player where the strong player's ELO rating is 500 points more than the weak player's ELO rating, then the probability that the strong player wins is about 95%. Hence, a strong chess player has a very strong edge against a weak chess player. For example, the current world #1 chess player is Magnus Carlsen. His ELO rating is about 2800, whereas a beginner chess player typically has an ELO rating of about 800. Therefore, mathematically, Magnus's probability of beating a beginner is 99.999%. This shows us that chess is all skill with almost no role for luck. Let's now look at another game, poker. If you are familiar with poker, can you place poker on the continuum of luck versus skill? Take a minute and think about this. Where would you place poker on this continuum? Is winning at poker mostly a matter of luck or mostly a matter of skill? My MBA class usually splits in half at this question. Half the students believe that winning at poker is all about getting the best cards, whereas the other half believes that the best players always win in spite of the cards that they are dealt. To answer this question, as we did with chess, let's ask how much is the edge of a strong poker player against a weak poker player. Would the best poker player in the world always beat a beginner? Of course not. This should give you an intuition that poker involves much more luck than chess. But how much more? Academic researchers have grappled with this question for some time. Researchers have measured the win probability of the top 1% of poker players in the world against the bottom 1% and found it to be between 53% and 55%. Note that if poker was a game of pure luck, this win probability would have been 50%. For a game of pure skill like chess, this win probability would have been almost 100%. So strong players do have an edge in poker, but it's a very thin edge. This means that poker is indeed almost all luck, and we should place it near the extreme left side of this continuum. But think about this for a minute. Haven't you heard of very skillful poker players who win all the time? Haven't you heard of top players who win poker tournaments with persistence? But if our research is correct, then how can this be? How can skillful poker players win repeatedly if winning at poker is a matter of almost all luck? You obviously haven't heard of any players who persistently win at a game of coin toss. So why is our intuition about skillful poker players so different from research? Because poker is almost all luck if you play a single round of poker. But a poker tournament usually has 1500 rounds. This repetition has an impact on the win probability of a top player against a weak player. So, even though a strong poker player has a very thin edge over a weak poker player in a single round, this edge increases as the number of rounds played increases. Here's a graph that shows how the win probability of a top poker player against a weak poker player increases as the number of rounds played increases. This research shows that in about 1500 rounds of poker, the win probability increases to 75%, which corresponds to about 50% luck and 50% skill. So we should plot poker in the middle of the luck versus skill continuum, because a tournament is repeated over multiple rounds. This is the critical takeaway I want you to remember from our discussion. Repetition reduces the impact of luck and allows your edge to shine through, even if you only have a thin edge. Research into tennis corroborates this fact. Even if a tennis player has just a 3% edge over another player in every single shot, that 3% edge translates into an 85% probability of winning the match. This is the reason why underdogs can upset better players in shorter formats of a game, but hardly ever win in longer formats of the same game. As the importance of luck reduces with repetition, better players usually win in longer formats as skill starts to shine through more and more. Let's now take our discussion to professions or careers to build a framework that relates luck, skill, and success in life. Hey there, I'm KJ Saxena, founder of Relentless VC. The video you just watched is part of the Venture Capital and Entrepreneurship specialization, which is available absolutely for free on relentless.ventures. Go check it out. If you're a tech startup founder and want to raise money from us, you should apply on our website. Lastly, if you like this video, do subscribe and share it with your friends.